Hi, Tony. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you great. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, great. 2 seconds.
No problem.
What all have we got tonight? A quick presentation and Q&A again, or?
Sounds good.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, thanks for that, Tony. I'll be with you in a bit, okay?
Sounds good.
Okay, welcome everyone. It's 9 o'clock UK time, Friday, 26th of January. This is my second call of the week with regards to what we're going to be talking about tonight. I'm very excited about this new cryptocurrency business opportunity. And I got the top guy on, a guy called Tony, who's an expert in presenting this right now until I get myself into things. And get your questions ready, guys. Lots of questions on the last call. It went on for about 2 hours. I'm hoping to keep this to obviously less than an hour tonight, Friday night. So sit back, listen to what Tony's got to say, listening to the presentation, and get your questions ready. Okay, over to you, Tony. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Adrian. Appreciate the introduction. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here for everybody, and I'm going to put on a quick PowerPoint. And basically, the information we're going to cover today is fairly brief. You know, it's kind of meant to give you a little bit of the details, and then if you've got some interest, you know, we can obviously stick around afterwards. We're going to do a little bit of Q&A and kind of get more of the details with you as far as you know, compensation, as far as the bots are concerned. I'll share some of those with you, a little bit of a training on those. So the company we're going to share with you this evening is Crypto World Evolution. I actually got a call from my good friend who started this company in August, based out of Madrid, Spain, and South Korea. That's kind of where they started. They wanted to open here in the United States, where I'm located, in January. So just about 3 weeks ago, I met with him. I was very excited about the trading software that we're going to share with you guys today, and some of the differences that I saw with his company versus a lot of companies that are operating in this space. So the mission for the company is fairly simple. It's basically to provide state-of-the-art, cutting-edge technology and innovative tools to realize maximum profits when trading in cryptocurrencies. And they've got a team of trading professionals, a team of programmers that pretty much are working around the clock to ensure that they achieve the mission they're striving for. Now, for those of us that, you know, kind of heard of Bitcoin or been involved in it a little bit, there's several ways to make money in Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies. One is buying and holding. I had kind of been doing that, I guess, over the last 12 months or so. A lot of people can do that. Mining is another area where a lot of folks are investing in, and you know, from smaller people that are cloud mining and throwing a few dollars at it to huge mining operations that are literally $100 million or $50 million or $150 million to set up the whole entire mining operation. And then there's trading as well. Whether you're trading on your own, whether you have a trader that you'll hire to trade for you, there's a lot of different ways to do those things. What I loved about really Crypto World Evolution, CWE, and what was really different is most companies in this space, you have to send the Bitcoin to the company. Like, we have to literally send our Bitcoin or send our money to some company out of Dubai or somewhere around the world, and they do their thing, they mine or they trade, and then we've got to hope that they send us back what they promised. And sometimes they do, and there's been a lot of companies in the industry that sometimes they don't. And what Crypto World Evolution does is completely different. We are in control of our own Bitcoin at all times, 100% of the time. So they never have access to my investments that I use to trade, how much I decide to trade with, how much I decide to pull out. They do not have any access to that, which is really different in this space right now. Trading, if you want to get into trading, the company you know, sees a couple of issues. Potentially, they say, you know, it's easy to figure out what to buy, like what coins to buy. And honestly, for me, I was never into the trading side. I had no idea what coins to buy. So that was difficult for me. But then they said for almost anybody, even good traders, when to sell can be very difficult. And I know some of you guys, maybe like me, have been kind of playing around with crypto, and maybe we bought Ripple, which I did, and then watched it go up to $3. And I thought, all right, it's going to keep going up. And it didn't, and it kept going down. It's like, I wish I would have known when to sell that thing. And honestly, CWE has a solution. They have software that helps people in the process of buying and selling the different cryptocurrencies. They have several products out. More products are coming out as well. They have a hybrid product that's designed more for someone that has a bit of a trading background. And then they have an automatic product, which is for somebody like me that never traded before, really doesn't have any idea which coins are what. And that bot will just do all the buying and selling for us. And those computerized bots are capable of performing hundreds of operations automatically without any human interaction. The key is really the team of professionals that are constantly working on those bots, constantly supervising the functions to make sure they're operating at an optimum level at all times. I'll go through a little bit for those of you that are interested right after this quick overview. I'll go through some of the bots and some of the trades that I've gone through. And again, there's no guarantees, but the bottom line for me is I was tired of sitting on the sidelines and watching friend after friend do extremely well in cryptocurrency. And I was just maybe, I guess, ignorant to how to even get involved. And so I needed something to help me. And so I was interested in their memberships to their cryptocurrency trading software. There's two levels of the software, two memberships. One is a 500. It's basically, PV is basically US dollars. So it's equivalent to the US dollar. So about 500 US dollars will get you up to $2,500 in a trading limit. And then a 2,000 US dollar membership, it'll get you a $10,000 trading limit. And those memberships are 1-year licenses. You can set up as many of the automatic bots as you want, and I'll share that with you. You can turn them on, turn them off. You can pick the coins you want to pick. But the difference, I guess, really mainly is how much of a limit do you want to trade? There are some perks for people that maybe like to refer businesses and refer products to other folks, friends, family members, people that they meet. If you love the service and you refer it, there's some additional perks for folks that come in at the $2,000 membership that are above and beyond being able to trade 4 times the amount that you're able to trade at the 500 membership. The compensation plan, again, this is a brief overview. I've got some more detailed videos that I know Adrian has access to, and he can share those with you that go in depth into the compensation plan. But there's pretty much several ways we get paid. Direct commissions, 15%. If you bring me to the company and I buy the software, I say, hey, I want to trade. I don't know what I'm doing, so I like the idea of having a computer do it for me. I can pay $2,000 and get the software. You'd make 15%, $300. That pays out pretty much right away, that direct bonus. There's an indirect commission. If I bring in my sister and she buys the $2,000 package, they pay you a 5% bonus. So basically $100 if she buys that package. And that's pretty much just 2 generations. You get paid off of me, the people you introduce, and then if I introduce someone, you get paid off of them as well. There's a binary compensation attached to the program as well. A matrix where the trading software, it's done so well, they have a commission that they take basically where we send in 20% of our profits each week. And pretty much half of those profits that we sent in go into a compensation plan. So if you're good at referring a lot of people to this program and they love trading and they trade a lot and they tell a lot of friends, you'll actually make a percentage of everybody's profits who you refer to this program, which can be extremely lucrative. Right now, there's less than 10,000 people worldwide that are a part of the company, and their assets trade right now in action is about $280 million between Bittrex and Binance, a little bit in an exchange called OKEX and one called HitBTC. So growing rapidly, and as they make profits, no guarantees, but a lot of months have been really, really strong for them. You can make a percentage off of those profits. There's also some unilevel positioning to promote through the compensation plan. And what that'll get you is basically a profit sharing pool. The company takes 8% of their global profits and shares them with the top leadership as they promote through the compensation plan. The last thing I'll wrap up with is compliance. This is something that's quite a bit different than most companies in the crypto space, so to speak. We'll never guarantee anything about returns a rep can expect. The bottom line is CWE does not guarantee because we don't control the market. We can talk about what's happened in the past regarding, some of our returns, and I'll share some of my returns with you guys. And bottom line, like I said, that doesn't mean you'll experience those returns. It doesn't mean I'll continue to experience those returns. But I've been very pleased with those returns. And I believe that cryptocurrency is just in its infancy still. It's still got a lot of room to grow. Now, I might be wrong, but if I'm right, I definitely didn't want to sit on the sidelines and watch person after person do extremely well while I sat over and did nothing. So I want to share with you the bots to kind of wrap up and basically go into how this trading works and how it sets up, especially for someone like myself that didn't have any experience trading. So let me go into the trading platform here. And when you first log into the trading platform, it's going to have a desktop basically for you. How many orders you got, how many open orders, how many are completed, how many robots you've had in play. Not all of my robots are even on this page. When I first started with the company, they hadn't even linked up all the reporting all the way. So I'll share with you all the results over my first a little over 3 weeks in trading. And to set up your robots, it's pretty simple. What you want to do is set up what you call an API key. Pretty easy to do. You can add an API key through I use a Binance exchange. Basically go to the account and there we go. I was going to clear all drawings there. So I go to the account and basically I can add my API setting right there. You give it a name and then you just copy and paste the API key, and then you'll copy and paste the secret key. When you go over here, it'll basically say add API key. You give it a nickname, you pick your exchange, copy and paste, you add the key, and it shows up here. That took me about 2 minutes. There was a tutorial video on how to do it. It walked me through every step of the way. There was another video that showed me how to set up my robots. And I'll show you guys how to do that right now. I'll set up a bot for you. So if I add a robot, it'll basically give me some options here. I can name it. So I'll just say bot 2 January. I think this might be the second one. 26. So, or you know what? I'll give you guys some love. So we'll call this bot UK January 26th. The exchange I'm going to use is Binance. The key is the only key I've attached there. The robot I use is the HPSI. The win-win, their goal with the win-win is to return about 20% a year. That's not guaranteed by any means, but that's really their goal. The HPSI has had quite a bit higher returns. Once again, no guarantees. But I use the HPSI. I'm a little more, I guess, risk tolerant. I like to see if we can put some fairly big numbers up. So if I want to invest, maybe 0.15 Bitcoin in a new bot, I add that robot. It's going to show up here as pending usually at the bottom. So I have an active robot that I just turned on not too long ago. I've had a lot of robots paused as the market was downturning. You can see I've had robots turned on, turn off. The robots themselves, if you look at some of my older bots, they will never sell a trade unless it's at least 1% profitable or higher. Now, that doesn't guarantee that every trade's profitable. It just means it won't sell at a loss. You can choose to manually sell at a loss. It will not do it on its own. And I'll talk to you real quick about that before we wrap up the bot side and get into the Q&A. But if you look at the older trades, from when I first started, December 28th, my first trades that went in, it's buying Stellar, it's buying gold, it's buying Monero, Ethereum, Cardano, Litecoin. There's 15 coins that it's choosing from. I added VEN, I added Stellar. You can add your own coins as well. If you think, you know what, I think VEN's going to go down, you can take it out. It stops looking for it. What the bots do with these coins is they look for about 12 targets on these mainly 15 coins that it automatically chooses. So let's look at like Ethereum, for example. If it's looking at Ethereum, it'll look at 12 targets. What's the price? What's the historical pricing? What's the predictive pricing? How's the chart look like it's going to go over the next few days, few months, few weeks? What's the Twitter? What's the social media looking like? How many people just tweeted about Ethereum in the last half hour? how many people Google searched Ethereum in the last 20 minutes? And so it's going to look for those things. And when it gets those 12 triggers that it likes, it says, all right, I want to buy. I'm going to come in and buy Ethereum or Neo or Litecoin. And once it buys it, it will hold it until it gets to at least 1% profit or more. And then it'll complete the sale and it'll capture it. Now, not every sale goes green right away. So if you look at some of the newer bots I put up, I just turned one on earlier today. And if you look at the orders, they automatically go red right when it's bought because there's fees that the exchange charges. So the downside includes those fees. The upside is after the fees are already taken into account. So this bot is buying and selling. Out of, no guarantees, out of 10 trades, usually what I've seen is about 8 out of 10 within 24 to 48 hours will close out green and close for a profit. About 2 out of 10 will go red and they'll just hang out there and they won't turn into a profit for a while. And there's two philosophies. I have one friend that never ever sells a red bot. If it's red, he will never click the sell now button. He just looks at a trade like you see there with Bitcoin Gold and he goes, you know what? It just started today. I'm going to wait. And eventually it'll go to green. There's another philosophy that says, listen, if the market's going down, I want to get out. And I want to get out and I want to start trading with more bots. And so I started to kind of develop that philosophy a little bit. So what I do, and if you look at some of my older trades, you'll see certain bots that I use that were profitable, but I actually forced it out of certain trades. Like this bot, for instance, I started on January, let me go all the way back. I started on January 6th, and it closed out a bunch of profitable trades, a bunch of greens, a bunch more greens on the second page. That was great. And then if you guys are familiar with cryptocurrency and have been involved, the market crashed not too long ago. Bitcoin went from like near 17,000 down to around 9,000 here in the United States, US dollars. And so some of the trades went down. Now, I knew two things. Number one, these would probably come back over time. And number two, I didn't know if I wanted to wait. Because for me, some of these percentages, even though it says it was down 14%, that was from when it was bought on the 13th. I knew Bitcoin was down. And so I knew my percentage wasn't even down that much. And that might even have been a near a break even. And so what I want to do is I want to share with you my Binance. Because when I determine whether I want to sell out is I look at my Binance. And what's cool, and I'll share this with you, and again, no guarantees, but when I first started with my Binance account, I'll show you what I deposited total. And if you do the math here, I totally, out of my pocket, I put about 0.57 Bitcoin total into my Binance account. That's it. I invested about 0.57 out of pocket. On December 28th, I started trading. So I loaded it up and got ready. Once the bots were available and I could trade, I started. 0.57 is now 0.967. Now, everybody I know that was just holding Bitcoin, if they bought 0.57 Bitcoin on December 28th, today, they would still have 0.57 Bitcoin. I let these bots go to work for me, and I ended up increasing the amount of Bitcoin. Now, here's the deal. They're not magic. When the market crashed, I had more than that. My balance went from 0.57 to 1.2. Now, it's down a little bit from where it was at its highest, but you got to be kidding me. Like, I literally, during a huge downturn, the month of January wasn't very good for crypto, and I'm experiencing over 40% return. No guarantees, but I tell you what, I've lost money in oil investing. I've lost money in stocks investing. I imagine I've lost money in crypto here and there, but I like the idea of having a computer make decisions on my behalf. If you look at how many trades these bots have executed since I started, it's amazing. These are my trades. These are downloaded from my Binance account. From the time I started, you can see over 3 weeks, a little over 3 weeks, almost 2,158 trades were executed. And the bottom line for me is, as a human being, I can't compete with that. There's no way I could make this many trades. There's no way I could pick this many coins and do it intelligently. And the bots are nonstop. They don't get tired. They don't complain. They work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and they've got one goal: get you more Bitcoin in your exchange. That's what they're attempting to do. And there's no guarantees they're going to do it. But over the last year that these bots have been in action, they've been tested for over a year. Over the last month that I've been using them, a little over 3 weeks, I've seen the same type of results that I've seen the month before, the month before, the month before, the month before. And my camp is basically saying, you know what? Bitcoin, cryptocurrency is still going to be shooting up, and we can sit on the sidelines, or we can get into the game. And the bottom line for me is I wanted to get into the game, guys. So for those of you that are interested, for those of you that are excited, just connect with the folks that invited you on to the webinar tonight. Connect with your leadership. You've got one of the best leaders in the industry. I knew who Adrian was way before he ever knew who I was. I can promise you that. But the bottom line is we have an opportunity today to where no matter what happens with the company, I have control of my Bitcoin at all times. I'm not sending it out there. I'm not sending it to another country. I can control everything right here from the back of my exchange, and I can let these robots trade for me 24/7, 365, and you can experience the same type of gains that some of us have experienced, and you can experience the same type of trade volume that we've experienced. You've just got to pull the trigger. So I appreciate you guys sharing some of your time with us this evening. I'm going to kind of turn it back over to Adrian. We'll do a little bit of a Q&A for those of you that have some questions and would like to get some, more details on what's going on.
Okay, brilliant, Tony. Thanks for that. Excellent presentation. If anyone's got any questions, if you can put your hand up in the chat. Because last time when I unmuted everyone, it was just too much feedback and too much noise. So just in the chat first of all. I got one guy asking, Tony, how can we trust the company by giving out our exchange login details?
Great question. I'm going to share with you guys. So we never give our login details to anybody ever. What you do is you attach your API. And I'm going to share with you in Bittrex, in Binance, all the APIs have some settings that you can control. And if you see the little check marks here down below the API key and the secret key, an option, one check mark says read info. That means that their bots can check out my balance. The second thing is checked. It says enable trading. That means my bots can tell my exchange, hey, I want to buy Monero with the Bitcoin. I want to buy Tron with the Bitcoin. The third box, if you can look, it's not checked. That says enable withdrawals. I'm not going to let any company withdraw from my exchange. So you would never want to check that. So as long as you don't check that, no company can withdraw from your exchange. You're in complete control. I'm the only one that can deposit or ask people to deposit into my wallets, and I'm definitely the only one that can ever withdraw out.
Okay, that's brilliant, Tony. The next question, the $500 robot, is that automatic as well, or is it only the only $2,000 one is automatic?
Both of them trade automatic, so it is fully automatic. I recommend if someone says, hey, I've got $1,000, I would do the 500, and then I would get with your leadership and have them at least connect you with someone that deals with hybrid bots, because if you're trading lower levels, you'd probably want to learn how to trade hybrids. Once you trade about 1,000 or more, you're going to want to trade with the automatic. And to be honest, as crazy as it is, the more you get into the trades right now, the more it hedges your risk. And so for me, the $2,000 membership to trade up to $10,000 was safer because no guarantees, but the track record was so good. I wanted to be in as many trades as possible to take advantage of as many wins as possible versus they do have losses. It's only losses on paper until you click sell now. But I just figured, if 8 out of 10 trades win, I want to get into thousands of trades if that's possible, which I did.
Okay, that's brilliant. What about the actual owner of the company, the guy behind this? Has he got any track record in something similar to this before, or is this completely new to what he's doing, or the guy behind this?
So the owner, there'll be a full bio on him. Our new website is targeted to launch February 5th. He'll have his bio on there. Tomas Perez is his name. He's been a friend of mine since 2010. We worked together in a company called ACN. We were out in Los Angeles, California, working together, and we became really good friends. He left ACN and was one of the founding representatives of Bit Club Network. He did really well over there, but then he disagreed with some of the leadership. He moved on to a company called Airbit. He did extremely well there, and then he started his own trading rooms in Mexico, and he was doing trading in cryptocurrency. The owners of Airbit found out, and they contacted him and said, hey, you need to shut down your trading room or you can't be a part of our company any longer. And he said, I'll see you later. He was trading and making probably 200 to 300 Bitcoin a month in his trading room. And then a little over a year ago, he connected up with a good friend of his in Spain named Guillermo. And Tomas told me, he goes, Tony, Guillermo is a way, way better trader than I am with cryptocurrency. He's traded Forex for 16 years, crypto for a few years. He's amazing. And so I'm sitting there going, well, you sound like a pretty good trader if your room was putting 200-300 Bitcoin every month in your pocket. So Guillermo's got to be a genius. And they worked together to create this software. They tested it for about 6 months to make sure it was scalable. They knew the bot would work. What they wanted to figure out is, can it work for 500,000 people or 1 million people utilizing it at the same time? And when they realized they could scale it, they launched it about 6 months ago in August. Like I said, between Spain and Asia, Korea, and then they just now expanded to the United States, and now we're starting to move into the United Kingdom pretty aggressively as well.
Okay, that's brilliant, Tony. I got a question here from Henry. Are you happy to share any losses since you've been up and running? Have there been any losses, or are they all just wins?
No, there's definitely losses. You saw some of the red and some of the users sold in my trading platform. If it says user sold, like I locked in that loss. It probably wasn't that high of a loss, 16.59%. So I'll lock in some losses right now, because here's the deal. Some of my trading bots were in action during the crash a little bit. Not many, but some of them were making trades. So if I go to my robots and I scroll down here to page 3, I have some trades. And I believe, and I might be wrong, but I believe over the next few hours and few days, crypto is going to spike. The futures contracts just expire today. And so there's going to be some movement. And I believe, I might be wrong, but I believe the movement's up. So if I look at some of these bots that I turned on, like on the 17th, let me see if there's any open trades in here. So there are. So I really, right now, I want to free up the troops to go out and trade more. Now, if I sell now, this bot is in Binance right now. This bot is in Zcash right now. So let's look at this. I'm going to sell that right now. I took that loss in Zcash. Now, if I go to my Binance, it might be in open orders. It depends on how quick. So now it says Zcash, limit, sell. I'm selling 2 Zcash. If you go back here, the Zcash is down. I've got, so that was 0.216 Zcash. So that one might already have gone through. Trade history, not yet. So it'll still be in open orders probably for a second. So the bottom line is it's going to wait for that to sell and go through. I'll sell this one. I'll sell this one. Each trade's worth about $150 in action. And so if I believe the market's going to come up, I've got 2 choices. One, I can wait. I think Binance will rally. I think Zcash will rally. I can wait a few days, and those will probably end up turning green. No guarantees, but they could. Or I can take a little bit of a loss and get them into new trades, because here's the deal. Overall, if I add up the percentages, I'm still ahead. And as long as I sell these, Litecoin, I'm going to sell that right now. So as long as I sell these out, I'm still going to have about 0.96 Bitcoin. So this number, it's up a little bit since we were talking. It was 0.967, I think, earlier. We'll have to go back to the video. But the bottom line is, if I'm comfortable with this number, I don't care about selling out now. That's why I'm forcing this to take losses, because this amount, this Litecoin amount, is calculated in my Binance under my Litecoin. So as long as I'm comfortable with where my holdings are at, I want to free up more money to trade faster to get me back into newer trades in a better environment. And so if I refresh some of those, if they say user sold, as I refresh, it'll say, you know, there you go. So this one already sold. So IATA, I took a little bit of a loss on that. Let me go to my order history. Let's see if there's IATA in there. There it is. So there's some Zcash, that one we were looking at earlier. It sold, it showed up. There's a Neo that sold earlier that was automated. Let's go to trade history, see if that brings up any new ones. So it's constantly trading right now. So that Zcash is out of there. But all I'm doing is freeing up more Bitcoin, I guess, finders. I'm freeing up more money. When I do those sales, it's going to go into my Bitcoin balance here in my Binance account, and the bots only use Bitcoin to make purchases. So I want to free up as much Bitcoin as possible, even if that means selling at a certain loss. But overall, I'm still way ahead. So long answer.
Yes,
there you go.
You recommend, Tony, well, I recommend anyway, not sure what you, to set up a new Binance account separate and keep it a fresh account for this project rather than use an existing one?
I would, just because I'm not a trader, so I set this Binance up just for trading with the bots. If you do have existing coins, your bots won't touch them. The only issue could be, let's say I sell this and the bot paid for it. The bot script will mess up a little bit, and the programmers will have to fix it for you, which they can. But I'd rather than mess something up, I like Adrian's idea. If you can set up your own account that, hey, this is where the bots trade, and it's easy to track gains that way. See, I know how my bots have done. I'll always know how my bots have done because I'll look at my deposits. And I go, total deposit, 0.57 Bitcoin. Total value, 0.96 Bitcoin. It's hard to argue with that.
Well, it's brilliant. I got Prince. Prince is asking a question. Can we have multiple Binance accounts having the same IP address for different accounts? Is having the same IP address for different accounts an issue?
So they won't let you use two of the same exchange. So what most people do is they'll either set up a couple different positions with the company, and they'll trade, you can trade the same Binance account and a different Binance account in the different one. You have the option, if I go to my robots and add robot, you can use any of the exchanges you see here: Bittrex, Binance, OKEx, and HitBTC. So if you want to have multiple exchanges, that's the way to do it. We're going to add a couple exchanges every few weeks. We'll probably end up with about 15 to 20 exchanges to choose from. But if you have two Binance accounts, as of right now, it will only let you connect one of them to this at a time.
Which one do you recommend? Because I'm understanding that Bittrex, you can't actually select your own altcoins. It's all hidden, or you can't see it, can you? Is that right?
Correct. So that little, when I went into my robots and I go in and I look at some of, the new one that just started trading that I turned on for you guys. And if you notice, everything goes red out of the gate because of the fees. There's always Binance fees that get charged. So every initial buy will go red, and then I've just got to wait. I want to wait until that will go green. I'll wait probably 24 to 48 hours before I'd even think about selling out, unless something new news or something came in. Now up here, you can see the coins that it's trading. And the bottom line is I can add whatever coin I want. As long as it's on Binance, I can put it in there. If somebody says, hey, I know that Stratus is going to go through the roof, I add it. Now that bot is going to look for Stratus. And if it hits the 12 triggers, it will buy it. On the Bittrex, it will not let me do that. It won't even show this. It automatically chooses 15 coins, and it just trades them for you. So I prefer Binance, Adrian. That's the one I recommend. Just more tools. I haven't used OKEx or OKEx isn't available for US clients, so I can't use that one. And HitBTC I just set up. So I'll give you guys some feedback on that, I'd say, after a week or two of using it.
Okay, that's brilliant. With regards to the Binance exchange, there's a minimum of 15 altcoins you have to choose. Is that right? There's a minimum, but is there no maximum?
There's really no maximum on there. And I can kind of share that with you as well. As far as the maximum, if the coin is on Binance, you can trade it. Now, you got to think about things. If you put in a brand new coin that's not very, popular, the volume's low, you think it's going to go way up, a brand new coin could go down quite a bit. So there is a little more risk if you're not trading Ethereum, for example, something that is going to be around for a long time. But if I look at one of my bots and I go, all right, I don't want to trade certain coins. I don't want Stratus. I don't want Stellar. I don't want Zcash. As soon as I drop below 15, Warning, HPSI robot now lets you choose 15 coins. If you don't select at least 15 coins, the robot will not make any purchases. You can choose as many coins as you want. Now, it will still sell. It will still sell. Even though it says up there it's jacked up, I can add Zcash back in, which I will. I can add Stratus back in, which I will. And then it goes green. My bots are working. And so it is what it is. So I'm going to...
Yeah, is there any advantage of adding, obviously 15 is the limit, the minimum. Is there any advantage of having 16, 17, 20, 30, or is that a bit stupid, a bit crazy?
I think there's an advantage to it. I use a website. I'll share with you guys. It's kind of neat. It's called Wallet Investor. Some of you guys might be familiar with it. And I just click on a button called Forecast. Once I do that, and I usually do this if I'm going to do a hybrid trade with somebody, but like this will give you kind of a 14-day forecast. So it looks good for Ethereum. Looks good for some Cardano. Stellar looks really good. Those are already in there. Quantum is not in there. Neo's already in there. Steam is not available on Binance, unfortunately. Status, I don't think that's available. Vin is available. XEM is, but if I look at that chart, I'd probably put it in for a couple days and then pull it out because it's going to go red. I try OMG. That's a great one. So I just saw that OMG. Let's go into my new bots that are in action. I've got 2 of them trading right now. I like what this is telling me about OMG. If I want to get more details, I can click on the coin. While that loads, it'll bring up a chart for me, and I can see kind of the where this thing's at. So it looks like OMG's down here, and it wants to trend back up to that trend line. Now, that's no guarantees. That doesn't mean this site's right, but I've seen it right more times than it's been wrong. So I'm taking a little bit of a risk and saying, okay, let's get on here. Let's add OMG. And now my bot is looking for OMG. And now maybe because that's not a popular coin, I don't put that into my other bot. I'll just trade it with one bot, and let's see how OMG does. But I don't want to get too heavy in that coin just in case my predictive site is wrong, if that makes sense.
So that's a good point. You're saying you won't put that into any other bot. So is it a good idea to have 15 altcoins in one bot and another different 15 altcoins in another bot, or is that not a good strategy?
You can do whatever you want. I don't recommend that just because I would keep about the 15 big altcoins in there at all times. It really would hedge your risk. If you wanted to do 15 completely different coins, I would recommend a hybrid bot where you actually select your exchange. So I'm on Binance. The hybrid bot, I pick my API key. I pick the coin that I want. So we just saw OMG, and it looks like it's going to go through the roof. So I pick that coin. The chart will load up for me. And then I can actually set a stop loss at 50% maybe. I set the Bitcoin to invest. I can invest if I've got a $10,000 account and Bitcoin's 10,000. I can put all of it. I don't recommend that, but I can invest as much as I want that I have room for. And so let's say I've got 0.1 Bitcoin. So I'm going to put in a hybrid bot for 67.2 of this coin OMG, and I'm going to add the hybrid. Once I do that, let me just do 0.005, and let's add that hybrid. So once I do that on my hybrid trades, if the buy goes through, it'll show up, and I don't have to do anything else. That robot will make the sell on its own once the purchase happens. So if you're going to get a little riskier, Adrian, my recommendation is to do it one coin at a time versus putting 15 kind of higher risk coins in one automatic bot, because the automatic bot does not have a stop loss. It's never going to sell at a loss. It will just let it go down. So I don't get too risky with the auto bots as far as the coin selections go.
Yeah. And talking about that no stop loss, I'm not sure if we touched on it earlier, but a lot of people ask me with regards to the minus, the negative trades, how far do you let it actually go? Once you start seeing go to minus 10, minus 20, you said it even goes as much as minus 50%. A lot of people may start to panic. How do you deal with that situation?
Like I said, you can't look at that percentage necessarily, because it's different than trading a stock. If you're trading a UK stock, if you're trading Virgin Airlines and you're using the British pound to pay for that stock, you got a pretty good idea that the pound is going to stay stable. We're tethering to Bitcoin. So I'm using Bitcoin to buy IATA. And Bitcoin, as that moves up and down, that affects the percentage. But our bots don't really account for that. They only account for what amount of Bitcoin it was bought at and what that coin is doing. It doesn't account to what Bitcoin is doing at the same time. So what you've got to do is emotionally pull yourself away from the percentages and only look at the amount of Bitcoin you've got, because that's not going to change. So if it says I lost 50% and I sell it, but I still have 0.969 Bitcoin, and I started with 0.57 Bitcoin, I'm way up. And so I try not to get emotional. The bottom line is, and I told Adrian this the other day, I've had a coin go 50% down, it said. 2 days later, it was green and it sold out for a profit. I mean, we are in a highly volatile industry with cryptocurrency. That is what it is. And so my philosophy is this: if you've got $1,000 to your name that you want to put in to something, and you want to turn that $1,000 into $1,100, go to your local bank and go to a local stock brokerage home and say, hey, get a stock. Can you help me, over the next year or two, turn my 1,000 into 1,100? If you want to turn 1,000 pounds into 2,000, you probably want to play in this game. You just do. It's a higher risk, but higher return. And to be honest, over the last 5 years, it's been a way lower risk. I've lost way more money in stocks and in commodities like oil than I ever have in cryptocurrency. So that doesn't mean it'll continue, but in my opinion, I believe I'm safer here with these bots than I would be if you turned me loose on the United States stock market on the S&P 500.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that. One question here from Simon: are people using the same? Should be answered though. Are people using the same API for all bots in the same exchange?
Everybody's API is going to be different. So you're going to be in different exchanges, different APIs. So my API is going to be different than yours. All the bots are fairly customized. As you can see, I can change the coins in and out. I can set the price I want to invest. So each bot is working differently at different times. They make decisions within milliseconds. They have to work with the exchanges. They allow them. I know KuCoin, a lot of people love that exchange, but a bot in KuCoin, the quickest it can make a decision is about 1 second. You have to get down to 1,000th of a second, because that's why I like to have 4 or 5 bots open. If I have one bot executing a trade in a millisecond, another bot might be picking up a target on a different coin within that same millisecond. And so I like to have 4 or 5 bots in action at the same time. So everybody's exchange is separate. Everybody has their own access to the exchange. So each one of us will have a different API.
Okay, that's brilliant. Esther is asking, can we top up our trading amount? Can we top up our trading amount on an existing bot?
Once you set it, it's done. And so there's no changing it. There's no editing it. There's no deleting old bots. So, what I would do if you wanted to top up, and I've kind of done this over time, but I basically looked at it and I was like, with my robots, I go, okay, all these old bots are paused. So I had them trading. I had a lot of them trading at like 0.05, 0.015. I didn't know what I was doing, so I turned on a bunch of different bots. And then my preference is I don't like to manage that many bots at the same time. So now, as you can see, I've got a couple bots on. Over the next few hours, I'll probably turn on about 2 or 3 more and maybe 0.2 Bitcoin each. And I'll trade all 10,000 limit within 2 or 3 bots at the same time.
Okay, that's brilliant. But if you just say for the average sort of person who may be on a budget, obviously it's a minimum of sort of $500 for the actual package. Obviously some fees, blockchain fees on top of that when you're sending money around. But say somebody then, what's the minimum amount you can actually start with? I know it goes up to 2,500 you can trade with. There's actually a minimum you can get away with.
The minimum you could trade with one automatic bot would be around 150 US. And so each trade you're in is around $100 to $170. So in theory, you could put 150 bucks in there, turn on an auto bot, put it at like 0.001 Bitcoin, and let it trade. The problem with that is, and listen, you know, like if you look at older bots that have been around for a while, over time, you know, most of them are going to win. There's going to be some losses, but you look, there's more green than red. Fair enough. But if you've got one trade, what if your one trade is the red one? Now, that doesn't mean it won't turn green, but what if it takes a week to turn back green? So you've got $150 tied up in one trade that you're waiting on. So, and you didn't really, it was going to be one of 15 coins. The first one the automatic bot chose. So people that are on a tighter budget, I really do recommend that they get into more of the hybrid orders and they learn how to do a trade. So mine executed that trade. It's got a stop loss in place right now. It automatically took down, you know, because of the fees, it went down right away. And the bottom line is I'm banking on the fact of this OMG trade that it's going to go up. I'm banking on the fact that it wants to get back up to this trend line as soon as possible. Now, it might take 24 or 48 hours. It looks like by the 30th or so, it wants to get back up. 28th, 29th, 30th, it wants to make its way back up to the trend line. So we'll see, but I wouldn't recommend an automatic bot being turned on if you had less than $1,000 in there. And that's just me.
Yeah, so you basically have $525 for the bot, and a minimum of $1,000 is reasonable to start with.
That's my thought. Yeah, that will get you into about 10 trades at once, which I think that hedges you enough. No guarantees, but I do think that gets you in enough trades that you've at least diversified.
Okay, that's brilliant. Family's asking here, can the bots not trade with their existing portfolio like Ethereum, Ripple, or Stellar? So I'm assuming this person is referring to they already have a Binance account and they already have their own coins in there. So can she just leave their own coins in there without getting affected with the robot?
Not really. I mean, because when the coins launch, when you launch a bot, it automatically is going to choose those coins. Those coins are in there. And if a bot executes within a millisecond before you can even click the orders and take those coins out, in theory, it could actually execute a trade. Now, I have people all the time with coins in there. So let's say you bought 12 Ethereum. If your bots start trading Ethereum, you can still sell your 12 Ethereum. Just don't sell 12.1 Ethereum. If all you bought was 12, sell what you bought. It'll work just fine. We have tons of people that have open trades and open coins. And if you did trade what the bot was holding, it's no big deal. It just won't buy anymore. The bot won't be able to sell that, and customer service will have to help you fix it, but it's not the end of the world.
Okay, that's brilliant. Let me just check if anyone wants to come on the microphone. We just have a question here. Prakash, I'm not sure we got your hand up.
Yes.
Do you want to ask a question?
Yes.
Yeah, fire away, Prakash.
Hi guys. Got a question. I've just started yesterday trading with 2K, 2000. Okay. And how I've done it is I'm not too sure I should have done it this way, is that I've opened 3 bots. One of them I've just left with the coins which are there. Yep. And the other 2 bots I've completely used different altcoins. Okay. So they're all completely new coins. So okay. Is that a nice way of, see, I'm thinking maybe that's not the correct way of doing it now.
Let me ask you this. The altcoins you chose,
yes.
Was there a reason? Did you study them?
No, haven't studied them. I just thought, because I've opened 3 bots, I kept one with what the what bot says, and the others I thought I'll diversify. Right.
So if you're going to diversify, like I said, I don't recommend getting rid of those 15 big ones. You could right now go into those other 3 bots and add the 15. So I would always keep the 15 big ones. The 15 original. That's what I recommend. And then add to it the ones you think that are
right. Right.
Yep.
Okay. I have kept the 15 big ones, but also in the other two, I've just added completely
Okay,
different.
so you just added. Yeah, I do that all the
Yeah.
time. I mean, check your bots, see how the results are, and see if it's
Yeah.
working. You know, so
I mean, maybe it's kind of early days at the
for
moment.
sure, for sure.
Yes.
I mean, you saw the bot I turned on. It's going to be red. I'll go look at it now. I mean, you know, I turned one on earlier today. It's completed quite a few orders already. But
Yes.
Let me interrupt there. Sorry. What about just having one bot and putting the 15 top coins on that one bot and leaving it like that?
yeah, I've got that in another exchange account that I use. I just turned on the bots. I've never paused them. I've never sold anything. I'm going to leave it on for a month, and then I'm going to go. I haven't even looked at it, so I'm just going to go back and see how it did. So I'm testing things out. Like I said, for you, Prakash, there's no self-destruct button. Like you're going to be your coins will do fine. You know, just keep an eye on it, and if you say, hey, maybe that wallet investor site I shared with you, check some of the coins you added. If they look terrible, close them out, get them out of there. But start to educate yourself a little bit. And I never wanted to do that. I just thought I just going to turn these things on and let them go. But once I started trading, it's kind of fun. Like you see it and you want to learn a little bit. You want to make good decisions and, have fun with it.
Sure. Okay, buddy. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Cheers, Prakash. I'm not sure. Any more questions, anyone? I can't see anybody's hands up. I'm not sure if people don't know how to use the software yet. Let me just unmute everyone. Any questions, guys? Everyone's unmuted. If not, any questions before we call it a night?
Great to see.
It doesn't look like. Let me just. Tony, everyone's just muted now. Just 2 seconds, Tony. I'll bring you back in. Where are you going? There you are. Yeah, Tony. It doesn't look like anyone wants to ask any questions on the microphone except for Prakash. There's no more. I don't think there's any questions in the chat. So basically, Tony, we can do these sort of once, twice, perhaps even 3 times a week if we keep them short and snappy for updates throughout the week. Is that okay? That
sounds great. I'd love it. I appreciate you guys sharing some of your time with me to see what we have going on and to learn more about the robots and how you can utilize them to take advantage of cryptocurrency increase here over the next few days, few months, and few years.
Yeah, and is this the best time for you, Tony? Because this was 3 o'clock your time, wasn't it? 9 o'clock UK time, 3 o'clock.
Works pretty good for me if it's good for you guys. Okay, that's great. Just got a few people saying thanks for the webinar. That's great. Thanks, guys, for that. Okay, then I'll call it a night. I can have a beer. It's Friday night. So thanks, Tony, and I'll catch up in the next one. Thanks a lot for that. Sounds good. Have a great evening, everyone.
All the best, guys. All the best. Good night.